Okay. Welcome all to Python Meetup. I want to hand it over to Sumant, who will be taking us through this journey of Python learning. Over to Sumant.
Yeah, thanks, Jonathan. So let me quickly share my screen here. Uh, okay, I hope it's visible now.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So hi everyone. Thanks for joining this Python bootcamp. My name is Sumant, and I have like a lot of experience with Python. So I'll be taking you through a series of session on Python. So these sessions are aimed at beginners as well as people who just want to get started with Python for the first time. Okay. So I hope everyone is excited to start this journey of learning. So sit back and let's get started with this. All right. So this is the agenda for the session. So today we are in week one that we'll be covering Python basics, which will include introduction to Python, variables, conditions, and functions, data structures, right? And then once week one is done, next week we'll move on to week two, that is intermediate Python. And once we cover week two, we'll be switching gears to data related topics. So we'll be looking at NumPy and Pandas library. So these are the two most famous libraries with Python where you can handle data and do a lot of other activities with that. And lastly, we'll be going to NLP and AI with Python. So we will see some ways of implementing Python, which is suited for AI-related purposes. Okay. So this agenda also follows a particular structure. You can see that first 2 weeks are your basic foundation training, and then third and fourth week are kind of your application of your Python knowledge. Okay, so with that, we can move ahead to expectations from learners. So Python is one of the most popular and beginner-friendly languages out there. It's very easy to learn, and as a learner, you have tons of online resources. Okay, and I recommend using Tutorials Point for that. You can go to Tutorials Point, and you have a Python section there. So the examples over there are pretty much easy, and any beginner can pick them up. Okay, and another most important thing about programming is that you need to get your hands dirty and play around. Okay, so programming is not like any other subject. You need to put in some efforts. It's like art or some design. You need to practice a lot, and once you are done that, you get the hang of it. And as Janardhan said, we have a Discord server set up, and you can reach out in case of any issues and questions. And all in all, the expectation is that you have to be curious and open-minded to learn new things, and then you keep experimenting. So with that, we can move ahead to introduction to Python. Okay. So what is Python? Okay. So Python is a high-level interpreted programming language. For beginners, a programming language is a way where you communicate with your system. Okay, it's a set of instructions that allow you to communicate with your computer, assign it tasks, and henceforth. And when you say high level, it's human readable. So we as humans are able to understand the programming language. Python is very easy to learn, and one of the facts of Python is that most of the universities in the world use Python as their first programming language to teach the students because they can easily pick it up, and then they can learn. And going back to history of Python, so it was created in 1991. It means that it's been 34 years since Python was created, and it has gone through a lot of changes throughout. So it also has stood the test of time, and it is still going strong. And you can also say that Python is well battle tested. Battle tested meaning that it has been used across domains and across industries. So you also get a standard library with Python. Standard library meaning that there are a lot of libraries out there which you can directly use. So we will be talking about libraries today in this session. And it's also open source, meaning that so for people who are new to open source is like a movement, or it's like a mindset where different people come together to collaborate and share knowledge about software or about creating software. So this session is also kind of open source because I'm sharing my knowledge and giving back it to the community. So it's all about community work with open source, and Python is part of that. So the next general question is, who uses Python? Okay, so Python is used by many of the companies out there. The best example are the tech companies. They use extensively for all the backend related stuff, or for automating the infrastructure, or creating some kind of recommendation engines. And then the most important companies, which are the AI companies, which are in hype nowadays, they use Python a lot, and most of the frameworks are built on top of Python. So all the AI related tools which you use every day use Python in some or the other way. So next are the finance companies. So finance companies depend heavily on Python because of the ability for Python to crunch the data, and they extensively use pandas or NumPy libraries to do these kind of data related activities like risk modeling or your algorithm trading. So all these things can be done with Python, and so the finance companies do these things. So on the other tangent, space companies, like I said, so Python has good libraries for crunching data, and these space companies, they when they research on these distant galaxies or some kind of stars, the data sets are like massive. Okay, they have massive data sets, and Python can crunch through all that data. And you also have CERN. CERN is one of the European organization which is currently experimenting on how this whole universe was created. Again, they have massive data sets, and they use Python to just go through that or crunch the whole data, right? So there are a lot of other applications, other domains and industries that use Python, but I have just listed down few ones which are really important ones. Okay. So with that, we come down to installation and setup. Okay. So I will not be going through the full setup of Python on your local system. Instead, I will be using Google Colab for this course. So Google Colab is a tool provided by Google, which is absolutely free to use. All you need is a Google account, and you can run your Python programs on that. Okay. So with that, I will now switch to Google Colab. So the whole session will be like I'll be juggling through this presentation and the Google Colab. Okay, so I'll be doing some live coding as well. So let me quickly switch to Google Colab, and just for everyone's sake, I'll do it from the scratch. So this is my browser. Okay, and I can go ahead and just search for Google Colab. Okay, and
Just a, yeah, Suman, just a reminder to all. In this session, to keep the flow, we are going to break at logical points, but mostly if you have any questions, please post in chat window. If anything that need to be immediately clarified, I'll ask Sumant. Otherwise, we will take the questions at the end of the session. Okay.
yeah, sure. We can do that. So I was waiting for this to get over, and then I would take a break for 1 minute and ask for questions. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so this is the Google Colab, and once you have an account with Google Colab, you can go there, and you will be presented with this screen where you can say you want a new notebook. Okay, so this creates you a new notebook. Notebooks are the way where we can write our programs in the Colab environment. So this is the screen, or this is the UI for that particular Colab notebook. The first thing what you can do is you can go ahead and click on connect. Okay, this connects the notebook to the backend server. And once that is done, I'll quickly explain what other components are there in this notebook. So you have this row here. This is called a cell. You can keep adding cells. There are two types of cells actually. So one is the code cell where you can write your Python code, and then you have the text cell, okay, where you can have text descriptions. So you can also go ahead and delete these cells as you want. And I'll quickly add one text cell, and I will say my first Python program, hello world. Okay, so this you can have it as a description, and then you can add in your code cell here. And like I said, so Python is very close to English. So if you are good at English, you will be able to pick up Python very easily. So all you want to do is print out some kind of statement, right? So you say that print, and you say parentheses, okay, or brackets, then you say double quotes, and then you say hello world. Okay, so then you have this play button or run button. You can click on that, and it gives you hello world as an output. Simple, right? So this is how you run a program in Google Colab. Let me run another program here. It's a small, again, the same one. I can say print, welcome to bootcamp. Okay. Here, what I'm going to do is add this pound symbol or hash symbol, and this is called a comment. So I can write any sort of comment saying this is a sentence. Okay. And a comment is used to describe to other people like what this particular statement is doing. Right now, the comments are never executed. So when I run this, you only get welcome to bootcamp. So this was pretty much a very, very, very basic programming in Python. So next we'll be jumping to other topics. So right now I'll take a break, a quick 1 minute break back. And if anyone has questions, they can ask in the chat or they can raise your hands. And maybe Janardhan can tell me on like what the questions are. So do you have any questions, Janardhan, from anyone?
No questions posted yet.
Okay.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Anyone so far? Another 10 seconds and we'll start.
So Google Colab is alternative to python.org. I mean for coding, I mean to ask.
No, it's a kind of UI interface or a tool, you can say. Python.org is a website for Python, right? You can go there and download your latest version of Python and all.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll get going. We have a lot to cover. So we'll be talking about variables and data types. Okay, so
There's a question. There's a question. I have been on Python for past 3 years. Deepan has sent and I am up to OOP in Python. Will this session be useful for me?
This is the basic session for now. This is the first session, which is for beginners. If you are already in object-oriented, you can sit around, and by next session, we'll be covering that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, next Saturday is asking. We purposely did not take up OOPS concepts in this. We wanted to go more more application oriented. That's where Sumant is covering more of, because for beginners, grasping the OOPS and all, it takes its own time. So we actually excluded OOPS as a primary topic in this sessions.
Yeah, and you can always ask questions on Discord related to anything, and we'll be able to answer that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and so we were talking about variables. So variables are nothing but your values which are stored in memory. So you can think of variables as these box. Okay, you have a box and you're trying to put an item in the box, and the way variables work in Python is like you use the assignment operator or equals to symbol, and you say like x equals 5, or you can say width is equal to some 70.65. Okay, and this is how you create a variable in Python. So what it does in the background is that it goes and it creates uh, a value in the memory which can be accessed later on. Okay, and if you are coming from some other programming language, in Python we don't explicitly use any kind of data type. Here I've added the data type just to show that this is an integer and this is a float. Again, for beginners, float is something which has a decimal point. String is whatever you add in double quotes is called a string. Boolean value is something which only has two values, that is true or false. Here, this particular variable is taking a value of true. Otherwise, it can take a value of false. That's it. It does not take any other value. Okay. So this was about variables. So let me quickly switch to my notebook. Okay. And I've already done this part here for others. And you can see that I have a variable called called x equals 5. So x is it's an integer. If I run this, it goes and it stores in the memory. Okay, and I can just run x, so it gives me the value of 5. Okay, so like I said, you can imagine a variable as being a box. You can put whatever you want in the box. So right now I'm putting 7 here. If I run this again, I get the value of 7. Okay, and here I have a variable called 8. So what you can do with variables is you can do any sort of mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so on. Okay, and then again the same example here, we have a value of float here which is assigned to width. So I can go ahead and I can print the width. It gives me this 60.65. And then I have a variable called name which is assigned to Python. If I run this, the value of Python is stored in the name variable. And then again, I can print it out. So I have a statement here, which is print my name is a format string here. So if you can see, this Python is assigned to this particular variable. If I try to print it out, it says my name is Python. But if I go ahead and change the variable here, and I make it as my name, I come down here and again run it, it changes because it's able to access that particular memory and take that variable, right? And as I said, for Boolean data types, it only takes the value of true or false here. So you can see it's currently false. I can also set it to true. So by default, variables are no use by themselves if we don't use it with something else. So I'll be talking about how variables will be used later on. And this is how variables work in Python. And one of the most important thing here is that today, like, we are in the age of AI, and everyone is out there using AI tools. Okay, and Google Colab also gives you the ability to use some kind of AI tool. So if you go ahead and click on this code, you get this cell where it says generate with AI. Okay, so if I click on this, and it gives me a pop-up where I can add my prompt saying I want examples of variables and data types in Python. And if I hit enter, it just then generates it for me. Okay, I'm not writing anything, and it gives me different examples different time, right? So I have these examples available to me. So you can make use of this particular AI to learn more about Python, and also make sure that you are well versed with the fundamentals. You understand the basics before you're using any kind of AI during your programming, because without the basics, sometimes it generates a lot of code which might not run and you'll be stuck with some buggy code. Okay, so understand the basics and then get into the habit of using AI as your assistant, right? Code assistant or code buddy, whatever you call. Okay, so this was for variables. So any questions for until this? We'll be moving ahead with control flow now. So Janardhan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, there was one question. One I answered. The other one was dictionary. Like, is it a JSON type?
A dictionary, yeah, you can say that. I'm not covering dictionary right now. I'll be doing it at the end of today's session. I will show you that. So it's also a variable. It's a map. It can contain a JSON data type as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. Continue.
Okay, so we come down to control flow. Okay, so what are conditions? Okay, so control flow includes conditions and loops. So first we'll be looking at conditions. You can think of conditions as something where you see a condition and then do something, right? In practical daily life, if you see that it's raining outside, then you will think, okay, it's raining, so let me take my raincoat or let me take out my umbrella. So based on certain conditions, you want to execute some code. So that's all what condition statements in Python do. They allow you to make some kind of decision and they allow you to do some kind of branching operations, right? So the basic syntax for conditions in Python is if you add this keyword called if, and then you have a condition. And based on that, you do some kind of work. So here, a small example, if it's numeric. So in the last example, you saw that numeric can be true or false. So when I say this is true, so this particular statement will be executed, else this particular statement will be executed. So it's like a condition. So it's better to jump into code and see. So I have the condition statements here. Okay. So here I'm making, again, like from the previous topic, I'm making use of variables. I have two variables, A and B, which are 50 and 55. And the first condition here I'm checking is if A greater than B, right? So if that is true, I print out A is greater than B. So when I run this gives me an error. Okay, because I have not run this particular cell. So that's one more thing to notice, that always run the previous cell before when you want to run the below cell. Okay. So if I run A greater than B, it does not give me any kind of result because A is less than B here. Let me make it as 60. So if I run now and I run this, it gives me the result that A is greater than B. So this is like mostly the conditions we use in Python. And the other type of conditions we use is if else condition. So if I run this, currently A is greater than B. Let me make A and B the same. And you can see that if A greater than B, you're printing out this statement. If A equals B, so we use two assignment operators to check if both A and B are equal. So then it prints out A and B are equal. Otherwise, it prints out this statement. So if I run this, now because A and B are same, it prints A and B are equal. So again, in Python, the condition statements are pretty easy. So once you get a hang of it, you can go ahead and start working on that. So here I have already generated some AI related content here. You can see, you can do your own experiment. You can prompt the AI to give you some examples on condition. It gives you a lot. So I'm not going to run through all this, but this is here. You can try it on your own. Okay. And then we come down to loops. Okay, let me switch back to my slides. And so we are in loops. Okay, so looping is used when you want to repeat something multiple number of times. Okay, you have a block of code and you want to run it a couple of times. So for loop, you can think of in a practical way of having a bunch of documents. Okay, let's say you have a bunch of documents and you are going through each of these documents. So when you say for loop, you're checking in from particular like first document to your some range. Okay, I'm here. What it says is I want the range till 5, which means that you are checking 5 documents and you are printing all that. Okay, and you can do it using the for loop. And the while loop is like, again, you can imagine you have a bunch of documents and you're just going through all the documents and until you find a particular document, right? So that is how a while loop works. Until the condition is met, while I less than 5 is the condition, until that is met, it will keep repeating, it will keep printing out the numbers here. So that's essentially what loops are for. And let me jump back again into this collab here. So you can see for loops, for loop example, I have a list of fruits. So this has a list called apple, banana, and cherry. So what I'm trying to do is loop through the whole list and print out the values here. So it's a simple for loop. What it does is it goes into each of these values and just prints it out. And this is the basic variant of loop. There are various other variants which I'm not explaining here because this is the very basic introduction to programming. So we can use loop for all these things. And this is an example of while loop. And like I said, until a condition is met, it will keep printing on the numbers, right? And here I'm saying that condition is I is less than 6. So until it is met, it will keep printing like the numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Again, while also is a very basic kind of loop here. I have used, again, AI just to see what all examples I can get. And it has given me quite a lot of examples here. So I can also run this. You can see that one of the examples is like it is using the character in each of this string. It is printing out the Python characters. And then it is over here, we can also see it has nested loops. Nested loops are like you have one loop inside the other, but I'll not go deep into that. I want you to go and explore on that. So this whole session is about like you learning something and then going out and trying out more things and coming back and asking me questions, right? It's all about being curious. So this is what loops are for. This is how conditions in Python work. Okay. So again, I'll take a pause here to see if there are any questions. So Janardhan, do you have any questions?
No questions. I'll be posting the Google Colab how to use in the Discord channel.
Yeah,
one
sure.
more thing is python.org also has an interpreter command line. If you want to practice initially, you can do that and then upgrade yourself to Google Colab over a period.
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah. So there are again a lot of interpreters available online, but Google Colab is much better. It gives you a lot of options and all. So there are other interpreters are very basic, and however your needs suit, you can always use those. Okay, so with that, we move on to functions and modules, which are very important in Python. So what are functions? Functions are a way to group your code. Okay, it allows programmers to encapsulate their code. So again, for beginners, it just means that you take a bunch of code and you put it in a group. Okay. So this allows you to run it wherever you want. You can call it from any other code as you want. And the basic way to create a function is using the def keyword. So you can call this a def or define, however you want. So like I said, in Python is very close to English. It's just defining a function. You say def. So define print numbers. So this is one kind of function. So all the functions have these parentheses and a colon. Okay, and that's how functions are created. You can also have define get balance, okay, which returns a variable called balance. These are called return values. And then you have something called set age, which takes a variable And this function here, set name, takes two variables, that is multi-parameter function. So we'll see this again in the demo. So I don't want to bore you with all these slides. So code is more important, and let's jump to functions. Okay, so we have a function here defined, my function. So I have the def keyword here, and it's called my function. And all it does is print hello from a function. Okay, what I can do is I can call the function again here. So this particular snippet of code is called calling the function. You just say my function and you put in the parentheses or brackets. And what it does is it calls the function. So no matter how many times I define this, it will call that function, right? It's pretty simple to understand. So the next thing is using arguments with functions. So I have another function with arguments here, which takes a variable name. So I showed you this print function, which has a formatter in this. So what this does is whatever name you pass here as a variable, that will be substituted here in the place of name. Okay, so I'm calling the function here with the name Alice and Bob and Charlie here. Again, it's the same function with different names. So when I run this, I get different values, right? Different outputs for the same function, but with different arguments. So this is what a function with argument looks like. And then we have function with return data type, return type, sorry. So again, here it takes x and y as its parameter. And what it does is it has a return keyword where it adds or subtracts, or you can add any kind of logic here, and it returns the value. So if you see here, we are just calling the functions for these two examples. But here what we are doing is we are taking the function and we are assigning it to a variable called result. So with this return keyword, this particular result, this particular value is returned into the result. So when I run this, you can see that it prints out result of addition is 8. Okay, and I can go ahead and change it here. I can make it as division. Okay, provided that I change the print statement. Okay, and so I get the result as the division of 5 by 3 is like 1.66. So it's all about like returning a value. If you want to return a value to some kind of result or some variable, you use this particular function with return value. Okay, again, this is very basic kind of training over here, and I'm not going through everything in detail. You can always go back and again, you can ask the AI to generate few more examples. So here it has generated a lot of examples with functions, how to use them, different, you can see it has also included lambda functions. Lambda functions are way too advanced to talk about right now, but as you go along, you will come to know about them. Okay, so try to use this AI tool available here to learn more about the programming language you are learning. Okay, let me switch back to the slides and let me get into modules. So modules are nothing but libraries. Again, if you're coming from some other language, you have heard of libraries or dependencies or anything you can call. In Python, again, modules are used to organize code into logical units. What it essentially means is that, let's say you have a huge chunk of code, what you want to do is break it up, because once you have a very complex code, it becomes very difficult to maintain. So what you do is you chunk it up and then you put it into different modules. So you just modularize it, and it can be used very easily. Okay. Python also provides us with some built-in modules. One of them is math. Okay, so it has all the math functions which can be used. And there's another module called random, with which you can generate some kind of random numbers. You can also have your own user-defined modules. So here I just have an example for FIBO. So if you have heard of Fibonacci numbers, which are used in mathematics, Fibonacci numbers, you can create a program and then you can import it to wherever you want, right? So that's what modules are all about. Okay, let me quickly again jump back into my Colab and let me show you about modules. You can see that by default, these modules are not available to Python. If you want to do some kind of math operations, you need to import. So you always use this keyword called import, and then you import this particular module. And I'm saying what I want to do with this module. I'm saying math dot square root of 16. So it gives me the square root of 16, which is 4. Okay, you can also do square root of 25. It gives 5. So what is the use of this? So right now I'm not writing any code which does the square root function, right? I am just calling this function which is already available. So for that, I'm just importing this my math module and I'm directly calling this particular function. The same goes for random. I am trying to print random numbers from 1 to 10. This function gives me random numbers. So I can go here. Every time I run, it gives me a random number from 1 to 10. So these kind of things are useful and their applications are, I'm not going to talk about the applications right now, but they are useful everywhere when you're doing some kind of statistics, computing, or any kind of financial data analysis. So these functions, these random values are useful. The same goes for date and time. If you want the current date and time, you can use datetime.now function. It gives you the date time. Again, this is used when if you are doing some kind of real-time calculations or real-time application, you can use the datetime.now to get the latest time. Okay, so that was like kind of a very basic introduction to modules. Let me switch back here. And before I jump into data structures, again, if you have any questions, I'm taking a pause here. So Janardhan, do you have any questions?
So far answered, Sumant. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll jump into data structures. This is not the full list of data structures, so I'll be covering only list and dictionaries here. In the next session, we'll be talking about sets and tuples. For now, we are only covering sets and dictionaries. Okay. So what is a list? Pretty simple. List is something, a list of items. You can think of list as a list of items or your shopping list or anything. So in Python, you can have objects grouped together as a list. So it's easier to work on them. So lists are always ordered and you can always change them, and they also allow for duplicate entries. Okay, and you can see this example here. I have a list of ages. Okay, I have 19, 26, and 29. And then I have a list of languages here. So I can also print out the language based on the index. I'll talk about the index right now. And if I switch to my Colab and I get into data structures, so I have a list here. You can see that my list contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can just print out the list. And when it comes to accessing the elements in the list, you need to remember that in programming, we use the zero index for counting from 0. So if like when we are humans, right, we count count our fingers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but in programming we count from 0. So if I'm counting my fingers in programming, I count from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, in programming I have 4 fingers. In real life I have 5 fingers, right? That's how programming works. You always start with 0. And then if I say I want to print my list of 0, this is we use the square brackets here. So I can say it gives me the value of 1. Okay, if I want to say that I want to print the value of 2, which is the second index, again going from 0, 1, 2, it gives me the value of 3. And in list, you have another option of calling the last element using the negative numbers. So I can say print my list of -1. It gives me the last element here, which is 5. Okay, so there are other lot of operations on list. I have not put them here, all of them, and you can also modify a list. Here what I'm trying to say is my list of 0. So go to the zeroth element and replace it with 10. So if I run this, it gives me 10, 2, 3, 4, 5. So earlier it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it has replaced the value of the 0th index with 10. Okay. And one more common operation is append. You can add items to the list using the append function here. So if I say mylist.append 12, it gives me this value here, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12. If I run it again, it keeps adding the values. Okay. The most important function for a list is the length, because we keep checking. We want to know how many elements are in the list, and we can use print length. So len stands for the length of the list. If I print it out, it gives me 8, because there are 8 elements in this list. It gives me the length of the list. Okay, and let me grab this and let's do here. Okay, so I asked the AI to also generate a couple of examples for list. It has given me a very extensive list of examples. You can go through this and try to learn other operations which are used. You have remove, you have pop. Okay, all these sort of examples I have not covered because of the time crunch. Here we have, and you can go through these easily. Okay, switching back to the slides. So,
One question.
yeah,
One
sure.
question to
Please do
interrupt.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Daytime related, we have two questions.
Okay.
One is daytime does it take server time or does it take system time?
It takes server time. So wherever the Python instance is running, it takes that. So right now we are running on, I think, if I see, this is Google server, right? So what was the time here? Yeah, it's 6:12, right? So it's taking from the Google server, wherever the server is located, the location, it is taking that particular time zone, not my system time. Okay, because this is 11:48 and this is different. So probably in US or somewhere the server is located and it's taking the server time. Yeah.
Okay. Next question is why can't we just write import date time? Why do we use from date time import date time?
Okay, so this one is like there are a lot of functions within a date time. Okay, you want only the date time function. So that's a good question. So for that, I will have to jump back into the python.org. And if you see here, you have something called as documentation. Okay, and you can come here and you can search for date time. Okay. So this is the documentation of Python. So when I was learning Python, I only used this. We did not have AI and all to check on other things. We always went into documentation, and here you can see that date time has a lot of functions, not just date time. You can see, you can go around and browse. It has date time. It has something called as time delta or others. Yeah. Okay, so it has like a lot of functions. You have just a function called date, and so like this, there are a lot of things. Yeah, and for particular date time, we only want to use date time. So otherwise, what it will do is it will import all the other functions as well. But we only want to use date time, so we say this from date time import date time, right? That's the only. It's like we are importing only one function, not all the others. Okay, does that solve the question?
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah. Okay, so we come down to the last section, which is the dictionary. So You can think of dictionaries as key value pair. So if you have ever used a dictionary, you know how it is, right? You have all the words and then you have the meaning of those words. So basically dictionary in Python is similar. What you have is a key. Okay, on the left you can see that we have a dictionary called student info, and you have something as key, which is a name, and then you have a value, which is Alice, and the same we have a key for age, which has a value of 21, and then you have a key for major, which has a value of computer science. So the reason to use dictionaries is that it's very much fast to access. You can store data here, and which is accessible very fast. And I'm not getting into all those reason why it is fast, why the memory access is fast and all. You can just think of a way to dictionaries are a way to organize your data in a particular way, and you can retrieve the information quickly. Okay. Jumping back into the Colab for dictionaries. Okay, so I have a dictionary called car. Okay, it has a key of brand and the name, the value of Ford, and the key of model and the value of Mustang, and then the key of year, and then the value of 1964. Okay, so if I run this dictionary, what it does is it creates a dictionary or a map in memory, and you can just print it out, okay, in this way. And where is it useful is that you can retrieve those values separately. Okay, so here I have some print statements where I'm saying I just want the brand of the car, right? I don't want the whole thing, I just want the brand of the car. I can say it as car and square brackets get me the brand, and I can say car dot get model, and this gives me just the model. And here, if you can see, I have said that car dot get wheels. Okay, there is nothing called wheels in the dictionary here defined. So what it does, it just gives me the value of none. Okay. For other programming languages, if you have heard about the null values, this is similar in Python. You have a none value because this particular object does not exist in the dictionary. You can also use the for loop with key value pair to iterate over the dictionary. So you can say car dot items, and you can say print, give me the key and values for the whole thing. And what it does, it goes ahead and it prints the value of whatever is there in the dictionary. Again, there are a lot of options available in dictionary. I have used this AI editor here tool. You can see that it has gone ahead and it has created a couple of other things. I can run this again. So it gives me a lot of other options. I can check. I can just get the values of car, or I can only get the values of items and all. You can do that. You can run this, so it gives you this output. So like I said, you can use this tool to get more information of how these things work. And because of the time crunch, I have not gone into the whole thing, right? So switching back, so this dictionary was the last item. So in the basic introduction to Python, and so this covers a lot of basic stuff. What I think is what beginners should be learning, and we will be jumping into more intermediate concepts in the next class. And yeah, we'll be taking it forward from there. So, Janardhan, do you have any other questions from people? Because yeah, so
Yeah.
this is the end of the session almost. Yeah.
Superb, superb. Yeah, one question is if you want time, only time, then
Yeah.
should we use from date time? Should we say date time import only time? Do we have
Yeah,
it?
yeah, you can do that. Yes, yes.
Okay, sure. Okay, others can come on video, unmute yourself. This is the interactive time of the session to ask any questions. In 2 minutes, I'll share again, repeat some of the things in terms of if you have any questions, where to go forward, where we'll be posting more comments. If you are a member, I think mostly there is a mindset that I'll join the program only if I'm a very beginner. But if you are an intermediate learner, Please help others in the community. The whole purpose of this community building is, while we have experts like Sumant sparing their time, we also want each other to learn from each other. It would be quite useful if you can do it. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone? Or you want to share your experience, maybe for beginners who wants motivation on Python. If you're using Python already in your day work, let us know how you're using. Why do you want to learn Python? You can even mention those things. You can unmute yourself and ask. Let me see. Okay. Jack, thanks for doing. Welcome, welcome. Okay, Streambo, it's a good start. Thank you. Okay.
So, Janardhan, Satish here, when compared to other
Yeah.
languages like Java and all, what do you think? I mean, when it comes to logic, right? So, do you think it would be a very difficult or comparatively easy, or how is it? Because someone who is not into programming or someone who comes from a non-tech program, I mean, background, right? For sure, it has I mean, they'll be scared of programming, right? So, if a comparison has to be made, right? So, how would Python be?
Yeah, I can do some talk and then others also can pitch in, including Sumant. I have learned at least, I know 12 languages. I started off way back in my computer science, starting with Fortran, Pascal, Java, C, Python, Lisp, and all this comparatively. The reason Python is so famous and popular is as a first language is because the simplicity rate, it's more like English. If you read the code, you will somehow get an intent. Whereas in languages like Perl, I think Perl is the most cryptic language I have ever known, or PHP for that matter. You have so much of syntax going on that you have to memorize the syntax literally. Whereas in Python, the readability is very key. Even the founder or the creator of Python, he was very influenced by a language called ABC. ABC was more an academic language. It is like English, fluency of English. You read something, you will understand what it is trying to do. So that is what you will get the benefit. But programming is different in a way. It's a bending of the mind. It took me almost 1 to 2 months to understand when you say A equal to 10, I thought of it as mathematically A equal to 10. So for me, it was difficult to understand when A is equal to 10, how is it's an assignment operator. It's not an equal to operator. Programming language like Pascal make it very clear. They put a colon equal to say that it's assignment. It's not a mathematical equal to. So there will be hurdles of the typical programming challenges. Only thing that Python makes it is if you see large code already written by somebody, which is like 10 lines, 20 lines, 30 lines, you will find it easy to know what it is doing. The age of AI is more about you will probably ask ChatGPT to generate some code. You will at least it will be readable for you that what it is doing. This course of 4 weeks, what Sumant is doing, will help you people get the nuances a little bit so that when somebody or AI generated code, you will understand, okay, it's a constructor, it's a data type, it's an inbuilt data type, it's printing something. You will at least understand that part. Simpler than other programming languages, but there is always a hurdle. So for some reason, computers has never been as friendly as I would expect in terms of the ease of hump that you can cross. There is a slight hump still. That's my take. Others can pitch in. Sumant, go ahead, and then others can talk.
No, yeah, what you said is absolutely correct. Like I said, programming is more of you need to put in a lot of efforts from your side. It's not like any other subject where you just read and you try to understand it. You need to practice. You need to have your laptop or system with you, and then you have to write code and practice. That's how I also learned. Yeah, that's that's what I can say right now. And again, understanding the logic might take a bit of time, but certainly you will be able to grasp it if you put in a bit of effort. Yeah.
Yes. There's another question. What would you suggest as learning path to someone interested in AI and ML, but is starting from Python with no technical background?
Yeah, so if you are starting from scratch, like I said, like you can start off with Python, because if you want to get into AI and ML, Python has you need the Python basics, because as you go into ML and AI, it has all these algorithms which are written mostly in Python. So if you don't know the basics, you will be just reading the algorithms, but you will not be able to get anything from that, right? So have your basics and foundation up first, and then get into AI or ML.
Yeah. So just my experience, I have initially started with JavaScript a long back, and then I learned TensorFlow.js because JS it was coming handy, and Node was also playing the backend, so it was helpful for me to get started with JavaScript. But what I saw after a period is when I was doing my master's from BITS Pilani in data science. Python is the language to go forward, because the amount of libraries you have, amount of code already there, it makes it much easier. One thing I learned in the whole my masters is reading in theory is one thing. You may have a lot of algorithms, Bayesian methods, or the decision tree and others. But when you have a snippet of code in front of you and you play around, let's say sentiment analysis, there is an existing tweet of 10 tweets which are already carved out and you're learning. You don't learn much, but then you try to tune the parameters and then play around with it. You get a more hands-on experience. So that is where Python comes handy. Without Python, just learning machine learning, the models, it will be very theoretical, like not understanding laws of physics and gravity, but just reading the laws of Newton's law. It's as incomplete as that. So highly encouraged to learn Python. A lot of help is there. The Codeiums or the Copilots, or if you take Colabs, generate code. You just need to understand that. For understanding, still Python makes a big difference. Okay, we are up on time, but for the benefit of members, maybe one or two questions more we can take. In the meantime, I'll show you people how to access the other stuff. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. So if you have friends who want to continue, I'll be sharing this video. I'll share the recording with maybe on YouTube, or I'll post a link here. You go to the event page where you registered for this event, and go down. This is where you can put any comments if you want to get access to slides or recording. I'll mostly post here, but if you have any other questions, please go there. Discord link is already mentioned here. You can go to Discord link. Then the upcoming events are announced today. You have July 19th, July 26th, and July 2nd. Sumant already has a plan where going the fourth week is where we'll be covering the AML related. That will be super interesting and handy for you. But getting the basics, intermediate level in the next week, and next to next week, more application oriented in July 26th. That is how the series will be. Going to Discord. If you join Discord server, this is where I'm posting. I already posted a link. If you are new to Google Colab, a short video. There are many videos, but I just picked up the very short video possible. And if you are just new to Python and don't want to install Colab, lot of things you can learn. The beginner, whatever the basics that are taught today, and even intermediate level, you can achieve just by going to this prompt and playing around, which should be good. Again, if you already have a Python experience, please help others. This is a community one. The way me and Sumant are spending time, if community can come together, this will be the most vibrant learning community. Okay, any further questions? One or two questions we can take and we can wind up. Google Colab uses Gemini to learn from code. What we type in console? Okay. You want to take that? Google Colab uses Gemini to learn from the.
Yeah, so Google has the Gemini LLM, right, for most of its tools and products. So in the backend, it uses Gemini for giving you the code. So I showed you we have a pop-up where you can write your prompt and it will generate code for you.
Yeah. Other question is Google Colab only for Python or it can do others also?
Mostly for Python only. It's Python related only because Colab is a research tool from it's from the Google research team, and they are researching on AI and ML. So they wanted to give this to the community, like to run your programs or Python programs, or you can also run AI and ML programs on that. So it's pretty much powerful, not just for basic program Python programming. You can do all the sort of things in that.
Yeah, Jupyter notebooks were the popular desktop versions. Installing that and all is a little bit of an additional step. But Google Colabs give you that handy on a cloud. So even if you have Google Chromebook, you don't have an installation environment, you can directly use that. More importantly, sharing code becomes easier. If you are a learner, you're stuck with something, you can share that in Google Colab. Somebody can help you, or you have some masterpiece created. When I say masterpiece, which you're proud of something, you can always share the link with others. So it becomes very handy if you're using that. Is it possible to turn off Gemini while learning?
So I have not checked that. I think there's an option to do that.
I think there is an option to like disable smart coding or something like that. I have also not, it never interfered, though I don't use it very often. It didn't interfere, so I didn't try.
Yeah, because now most of the products come baked with AI tools. What you can, if you don't want to use that AI tool, you can just grab any of the VS Code or any of the IDEs, okay, and you can practice in that. If you have Python installed on your system, you can use VS Code or any code editor without the AI. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, one last question. We are good. Your feedback will help. If you want, you can post, was the pace okay? Do you need additional resources after the session? Any other topics which you felt important not covered in the session, so that we can consider if it is relevant for the wider audience, we can consider to add. Okay, what is it? And setting can be considered as well. Unit testing. Okay, unit testing.
Okay, unit testing we can talk about, but we are not talking about what do you say, big programs here. We can maybe touch base on unit testing, how it is done in Python sometime. Yeah.
Okay. One more suggestion that is coming is could you suggest any exercises, assignments, or a practice method I can follow for what I learned today, what we learned today?
You can go to that tutorials point. It has like good examples. You can practice from there. So I think
Let's
I
share
have the
the
link.
link. Yeah, I'll share the link. Tutorials point. So maybe we can talk about from which section to which section they can take it. Let me.
Yeah, they can follow whatever is there in today's agenda. It was like in variables, conditions, functions, and modules. I can.
Let me share my screen, and then we can. That's a good point. That way, you know what to cover by then. By the time you people come to next session. This is the official one provided because we carved out. This is the link already there. I'll also mention it now in the chat. Tutorials point. Tutorial point. You can go here. This is where Python is. Whatever are covered mostly, we kept in mind this kind of syllabus when we are doing it. Whatever covered today, you have a good number of items to practice. Here you have, let's say, data types you click. You should be able to play around with that in this environment. Here you have an open compiler, and then you can edit run also. Okay. Shall I share the slides after the session, Sumant, and then people can go through syllabus and
Yeah,
practice?
sure. I'll send it
Yeah.
to you. Then you can share it.
Okay. Perfect. I'll put it in Discord also. Yeah. Thank you all. Thanks for joining. It was wonderful today. Thanks, Sumant. Again, meet
Yeah,
you again
thank
next
you.
Saturday.
Yeah, sure. All right. Thank you.
Bye. Stop the recording.